Hello, everyone. Woo. It's Sarah and Katie here. I guess we can start our webcam. Hello. So welcome from the Meal Exchange National Office. My name is Sarah, and I'm the Programs Director here at Meal Exchange. And sorry about the flickering lights. We'll try to calm it down. We're not in a discotheque, we promise. Or are we? And this is Katie Steele, the fabulous Trick or Treat organizer who many of you have been connecting with. So she's going to take it away, but we'll wait maybe a few minutes
just for any stragglers that come along. So again, it's great to meet everyone virtually. Hopefully we'll have the chance to speak later on, because I know I've been with you. So we'll get started.
Great, and it's great to see everyone. Folks are using the chat box, so feel free to at any point send along questions or thoughts, and we can answer those. As well as at the very top of your screen, you can see there is someone sort of looking like a raise your hand, and that is the raise your option. So if you are able to test that out, that would be great. If folks want to try the raise their hand option just so we can see. Oh, great. Amazing. Okay. So at this point, everyone's microphone is off, but at any point, we will open it up. It's just to kind of keep sound a little bit quiet right now. So if at any point you have a question that's easier to speak than type, just give a little flag in the chat box, and we will absolutely open that up as a space. Perfect. And actually, as we have a couple of minutes, we will hopefully record this session for other folks to use. So could we get a raise of hands if folks are comfortable with this being recorded? Oh, awesome. Okay. What a great function. Yeah, it's great. Wonderful. Okay, so we will start that off in about 2 minutes. And maybe if everyone wants to write in what campuses they're coming from.
Just so everyone can know. I know that we know on this end, but it's great to share with one another.
Oh, wonderful. So the community organizations as well. No. Oh, great. Hello.
Hi.
Hi, welcome on.
This is David from McMaster.
Oh, wonderful. Hi, David. Thanks, David.
Hi, how's it going?
Wonderful, thanks. So we've got, you're on computer and phone. That works well. Okay, awesome. go ahead. Start. David, if you wouldn't mind just if you speak, it will mute your phone just for now. And it would be great to hear your experience because you are a well-experienced trigger coordinator.
Yeah, sorry, you said star 6?
Star 3 should work.
Star 3, okay, no problem. I can do it right now.
Thanks so much. Great. Okay.
You're probably going to want the slides and not our beautiful faces because they'll be too distracting. So tomorrow we're having a big packing day, so if you sent in your mailing what questions you have and how we can best respond to them. So we'll try to make it as user-friendly as possible and really just make it about answering your questions and being as informative as possible. So to get started here, like I just said, we're going to be structured as follows. So we're going to say, what is a trickery campaign, and do a brief run through with that, because I hope as organizers you have a good sense. What is the difference between a trickery traditional campaign and a 2.0 option, running your campaign, and then we'll open it up to questions at the very end. Chances are most of your questions will hopefully be answered throughout the presentation. So we have a temperature check in here, but given we only did the run through of where people are from, and given I've kind of come to know your names pretty well from the registration process, I have a good sense of where you're from and returning campaign. I think we're okay to skip that for now. Hello?
Hello?
I think we said someone call in here. Yeah. So to get started here, so as we know, it does take place on Halloween. I feel that's a given. But it's such an amazing opportunity because Halloween is one of those unique holidays that it's very well known that on that exact day, around a certain time, the community opens its doors and Canadians just know what to do. They know you can go door to door. They know you need to provide candy. It's really a very unique engagement piece, and it's so unique that we're very lucky we get the chance to capitalize on it. So it's October 31st, and it really is our flagship program. So here at Meal Exchange, this will be our 15th year running it, which is phenomenal. And it's completely youth-led. So we organize from our end, and then it goes out to student leaders and also to youth across the country, and then they organize local campaigns everywhere from Moncton to Prince George, up to the territories, and we've even had international campaigns sign on. Currently, we're going to have one sign on in Australia. which is probably as far as you can get, which is amazing. So there's two components to the Trick or Eat program. One is food drive in the traditional sense. So it's door-to-door collection. So what's going to happen is your volunteers on Halloween, they're going to dress up, relive their glory Trick or Eat days, and they're going to gather. You're going to split into teams because, as you know, you can't go trick-or-treating with 1,000 people at a time. It gets kind of difficult. So you're going to break off and do separate routes. And then you're going to go door to door, knock on the door, say trick or eat, use the scripts that are outlined in your organizer or participant guide, and then you basically ask if they have a donation. Their donation, you thank them, and you move on to the next house. You'll probably get some candy, which is a benefit of this program. So treat it like you would if you were trick or treating normally, as in if it's not open, it sits up for grabs. And we have a lot of people that participate on the site itself. So typically we can get around 6,500 trick-or-eaters, and we've been known to go up to 100,000 households, which is huge. And again, that's all across the country. The second part to the Trick or Eat campaign is generating monetary donations. And this is very important, and a lot of campaigns tend to try to gloss over this, but it's really, really crucial because in addition to canned foods, a lot of food agencies require monetary donations to help them do other aspects of their programming and allow them to really go beyond the emergency food needs. So it helps them to create gardens and other programs, cooking classes, and essential services that really help to move beyond just the emergency food need and start to tackle the larger issue of food insecurity in Canada. So this is the online fundraising software that you should all have registered on by now. It's called Artez, and you can link to it through the Trick or Eat website through the button Register on the top right-hand corner. So like Sarah mentioned, we have 50-plus campaigns that are signed up. Our goal for this year is to get 75. And as of now, like Sarah mentioned, they're all across the country. So we have campaigns everywhere from northern BC to southern Ontario to way out on Newfoundland. So all across. It's a massive effort with massive engagement, and the only thing that would be remotely close to it would be We Scare Hunger, which is an initiative of We Day. It's similar, but in terms of the size and the scale, our event is definitely the most unique, and we've been doing it far longer. So I'm biased because I'm on this side of things, but that's the difference between them. So to date, we've raised over 1.2 million meals. We've mobilized over 40,000 youth to take action. And let's face it, we've had tons of spectacular fun. I mean, look at those girls right there. 4 thumbs up. That speaks for itself. So this year's theme is collecting food and raising voices. So it's a new theme that we've never gone with this year. We felt that it was really important, and we felt this way for a lot of reasons. The main one being the fact that hunger is on the rise in Canada. It's real, it's unfortunate, and like I mentioned, we have been doing this campaign for 15 years. So what we've noticed is that, over these 15 years, while there's been many efforts to try to alleviate hunger through canned food donations, it's really not helping to address that larger problem in the sense that a lot of Canadians can't afford the sufficient healthy food they need as part of it. So as you can tell from the graphic, it's continuing to climb. So over 500,000 people between 2008 to 2012. It's a huge leap. We don't have the current numbers just yet, but unfortunately we're assuming it's on the rise. So it's of information to look at, and it's something that we will be incorporating into this year's materials, which we'll get to in a second. So with this new theme, we have some new objectives. So one of them is to better align ourselves with our mandate, because Meal Exchange as an organization, we pride ourselves in looking towards long-term solutions to alleviate hunger. And having one of our flagship programs really centered on emergency food relief, it doesn't really match what we're going for. So we need a way to kind of combine those two so we're not taking away from the great, fun, expected Trick or Eat, but we're still adding on a layer that's going to allow us to address both. We also want to educate volunteers and households because it's really important that we feel they know that hunger is on the rise and emergency food relief through charity isn't the answer. Find solutions to people out of poverty so they can afford the things they need. And then also to advocate on that. So to find a way to raise our voices and stand up within our limits because we are a charity. So how can we do that? So one of the ways that we have chosen to do so is to update our materials and create a bit more of a different approach. So with the thank you card, the 50,000 that are sitting right behind me right now, in many a box, we've changed them up a bit. So on the front, it's that same infographic you just saw. So the goal of this is to educate Canadians that hunger is on the rise and that it really affects everyone. So it affects the working class, it affects children, it affects 1 in 8 households, which is rather startling. So by giving this to everyone at the door after they donate, we think this will be a great step to really get that word out there. Because again, if we're going upwards of 100,000 homes, that's an opportunity to educate 100,000 Canadians. The back of the thank you card is more of our call to action. So the front will have this great piece of information. They'll be able to flip it over, and then that's where they have the opportunity to really step up. So we're calling this our raise your voice aspect because what we want to do is we want to create a national conversation about hunger. We want to bring attention to the issue. We want to destigmatize the issue. And we want to get Canadians thinking about positive ways to really end this problem that we're facing. So what we're going to ask them to do is basically one question. And that question is, with hunger on the rise in Canada, what can Canadians do to end it? So we're hoping that on Halloween and the weeks leading up, we'll have lots of answers flowing in. We'll have the hashtag Trick or Eat attached to it so we can track it and monitor it and add to it. And so this year, in addition to the education piece, we're getting really social, and we want to include as many Canadians as possible in the conversation. So what is this 2.0? You're probably asking yourself if you haven't read the guide, and it's a very valid question, so I'm going to jump right into it. So Trick or Eat 2.0 is very similar to traditional Trick or Eat. There's just a couple minor differences. So with this new thank you card in hand, when your volunteers go door to door and they do their collections, they're going to hand it over. And if you're running a traditional campaign, you're basically just going to hand them the card, and then on the back, you're going to let the residents do the call to action. So they'll take it upon themselves, get out their phones or go on the computer and answer the question. If you're doing a 2.0, you're basically going to take it that further. So in this case, you're basically going to have your participants or your volunteers ask the question at the door. So it would go something along the lines of, Trick or Eat, we're here with X campaign. Do you have anything you would like to donate? Or are you able to donate? If so, that's great. They'll hand over the donation. And then that's when you would step in and say, thank you very much. I don't have the script in front of me, but it's all in there. This year, in addition to collecting cans, we're also raising voices. Do you mind if we ask you one question? And then you ask the question, and then you have two options. You could either jot it down on a recording sheet, which we will provide to an appointed social media person to get those answers back to us, or if you have the capacity, have your volunteers bring their phones with them and live tweet at the door. It'd be a way to really engage a vast amount of people really quickly, and it would be a really neat option to see really what comes back. It's a question that we have tested. We did a test run in Toronto's Annex back in the summer, and what we found was people were very keen to answer, and even if they weren't, they would say, I didn't know hunger was on the rise. I don't really know, but thank you. So we didn't really encounter a lot of problems, but it is a pilot campaign for us, so it will be a good test year to kind of see how this runs. But with that in mind, you're not expected to have full conversations by any means. So you're not expected as a volunteer, if you're doing a 2.0 campaign, to go and have an in-depth discussion for 20 minutes about food security. It's not what we're asking. It's really just to go one step beyond the script, ask the question, record the response, and thank them. So that's the difference. And with that being said, if your volunteers are doing the script, we do recommend that you have a volunteer training session beforehand. Just a quick hour training where you can give volunteers a chance to meet each other, let them practice using the script, and really explain to them why we're doing this, if they're going to put in a bit more effort to it. So with this, there is going to be another webinar happening next week. You should be getting an Organize number 2 tomorrow with more information about it. But if you're looking to take this route, I know some of you know you're going to do it. We'll be in contact more, and with that webinar, we'll have a chance to really dig into training and give you all the tools you will need. So everything from a handout that you can provide to the presentation you can give to really just the play-by-play to make it as simple as possible, because we don't want you putting in any extra work. We know organizing a trickery campaign can be intensive depending on the scale you're looking to do. So organizing your trickery campaign. I'm not going to go into huge detail because I find the organizer guide is fairly comprehensive. It was meant to be your play-by-play go-to guide. So if you haven't checked it out yet, I strongly recommend that you do so. It provides a lot of great tips, and it really goes through every single detail. But we're still going to run through it in a more condensed version. So I think everyone here has registered their campaign. If you haven't, it's just a matter of filling out the online form. And the registration really gives us a good sense of what you're looking to do this year. So how many homes do you want to visit? Where do you want your food to go? And that's going to really allow us to determine how we can help you. So how many materials do we have to send you? How can we really promote it to make sure people aren't stepping on each other's toes or going the same route? And so the food banks know as well that they are being donated to if you haven't contacted them already. So registering your campaign is first. Once I have your registration and I know who you are and what you plan to do, from there I create your online campaign page. And that's the same platform that you would register on as an individual, like was mentioned before. So what I've done here is I've shown a picture of Acadia, their campaign page. So as a campaign, it's different from a team. So a campaign is the organizer's grander effort. So campaigns would be schools, so Ryerson, McMaster, Acadia, or community campaigns like the Rotaract Club or Dijon Homeschool or any one of those larger campaigns. It's important to have a campaign page because by having a campaign page and by having people join your campaign, your participants are able to form sub-teams. And these teams really help to build momentum, they help to gain participation, and it lets them feel like they have their own little group within your larger effort. For instance, if you're running Guelph Trickery, which is our biggest campaign, you know, and let's say you're the arts club at Guelph and you want to kind of do an event or participate, you know, with your friends, make sure you're all doing things together. A team's a great way to do so because you have your own team page, which you can fundraise together, and it also helps to coordinate routes. So, organizer, if you have lots of teams, it's easy for you to say, okay, team captains, let your teams know this. Or, okay, team captains, this is the route that your teams are going to go on. So it really helps make it more manageable from your end, and then it helps it be more personal from the participant's end. So that's your campaign page. Let me just get my pointer here. If your participants, oh, where'd it go? Come on. There. Want to join a campaign, they have the option to do so right there. So I believe most of you, your campaign page, if you haven't, if you don't know where it is, you can go to the ArtHouse forum and look up Find a Campaign, and you should be able to search it. So if someone goes to your campaign page, they want to join your effort, they think it's awesome, I really want to be part of Arcadia Trick or Treat, they can join it by clicking that button. Click that they are going to be prompted to register. First step of registration is the waiver, which is a simple box. Yes, I'm comfortable being part of this initiative. And then you get taken to this. And this is a step that I feel is pretty crucial. There's been a bit of a mix-up with some people, so I just want to make sure if it's clarified. So to join, you could join as an individual, you could join a pre-existing team, or you could create it. So to explain the differences here, let's say you wanted, teams are different from campaigns. So if I'm, I guess just Katie from Acadia, and I'm looking to the Acadia team, since Acadia is a campaign, if I go to team in Acadia, it won't come up. But if I want to join the swim club and they're a registered team, I can easily type in that, and then that team will pop up. So there's a bit of a difference there. So if they know exactly what team they want to join, they can do that and join no problem. But if not, what they should be doing is registering as individuals. Because if they register as an individual, they will be prompted on the next page to affiliate themselves with a campaign. So it's going to ask them to join Guelph or McMaster or the Rotaract Club of Brampton. It'll give them that option to do so. Once they affiliate and they get their individual fundraising page, they'll still have the option to join a team if they want. And they'll still have the option to create a team if they want to. So if they're really unsure what to do, just tell them to register as an individual, and they have flexibility later on. Lastly, the last button, to create a team. If you're a participant that just knows, I'm going to be part of Acadia, and we're the mathletes, and we're going to have our club, they can just immediately create a team within that campaign by clicking on the can button at the bottom there. So those are the differences between three. We try to do as easily as possible, but if there's any confusion, we to speak to it in more detail. Right, so the next step, once you kind of get your page set up and you encourage people to join, is you want to do your logistics, and that's basically where the guide. I'm not going to go through step by step, but there's just big things you want to look at. So you want to make sure that you're secure your meeting location, because before you actually head out, you want to gather all your participants together, make sure everyone's on the same page, make sure everyone knows where they're going in terms of their Canvas route. And then also, too, you want to psych them up. They come out to you and, they're looking to have a good time. It's Halloween. So make it almost like a pre-party. You can have some music blasting. You could have a speaker from the organization you're supporting speak to why it's so important that they're getting this donation, both monetary and with canned goods. And really make it your own little event. So feel free to run with that, but just make sure you have a location in place. That it's better to start earlier than later. You also want to determine how your food is going to be collected. And with this, the aspect you want to do is you want to see your organization that you're donating to, because they might be able to offer resources, whether it be pickup bins, whether it be extra volunteers to help load. It can be very valuable, so I really recommend you would do that. If your Canvas routes, make sure you know where you're going. It's always a good thing to know. The more teams you have, the more area you can kind of stay out and cover. But you as the organizer get to determine where in the city you get to be doing your collection. If you're a part of a school, you want student union approval. And then last, find some friends to help, because let's face it, running a big sugary campaign on your own, you can do it, but it'd be more fun and more the stress if you have some good friends behind you, especially if you're a student, classes and other obligations to worry about. Don't be afraid to ask for help. One of the biggest pieces of feedback we got from organizers in past years is So another big step is to tell the community that you're coming. Because let's face it, if you just show up at someone's door, they're going to go to their pantry and pull out that old can of in the very back that no one wants to eat. So to make sure that the community agency you're supporting gets good food, you want to make sure the community knows you're going to be knocking on their doors on Halloween. So we recommend that you do so no more than days beforehand, because people tend to forget, than 3 days or 2 to 3 days in the other direction. So for that, we have flyers. What you're going to get as part of your materials package, or door-to-door flyers. And all you're going to go just door-to-door, simple drop-off. You don't have to talk to anybody. Just drop them in mailboxes, just so people know that they can expect you. On the back of the flyer, it does give recommendations for what people can donate. So whether it be baby food, diapers, condensed milk, a whole slew of things, and they've all been recommended to us by Food Canada, so it's a good list. And then the big night comes, and it's here. So Halloween, which is, I guess, your go time. So how it works is, again, like I mentioned, you're going to have a bit of a get-together where everybody congregates in one spot. You get psyched up, you get all the materials you need, and then you start to head out into the community. So the camera takes place, and what happens when your volunteers go to the door, they're going to say trick or treat, do the script, and at the end, everyone's going to get a thank you card. And again, this is another way that we're going to get that education piece out there. We're going to encourage people to raise their voices, and if you're doing a Trick or Treat 2.0 campaign, you're going to be asking the question at the door. Afterwards, the food gets brought back. Something, again, you'll need to think about in your logistics stage. If you want to have your volunteers bring bags, want to rent shopping carts, we have a shopping cart agreement on the organizer section of the website. All you got to do is print it off, fill in information, and then bring it to whatever grocery store you hope will donate carts to you. It's really effective because, let's face it, it's really fun to drive a shopping cart around with a bunch of food all night. It's really simple, and then it's a lot less, and you can carry a lot more food that way. So it's a good option. So you're going to bring your food back, and then from there you need to decide how it's going to be donated. So are you going to store it overnight in the location? Are you going to donate it and have immediate pickup? Or have your food agency said that they want to bring the food to them? So just logistics you want to get sorted out, again, in the logistics section of the guide. But the more you have confirmed beforehand, the easier this night will be. And we do guarantee it will be ghoulishly good fun. We put our stamp on that. So after the event, we really want to know how you did, because the more information we can get from our end, the better we're able to capture what happened that night. So, for instance, how many people came out to help you, how much food you collected. We'll know your monetary donation values just based on the online. And we want to hear everything. If you're doing a Trick or Treat 2.0 campaign, we want to make sure that all the tweets get out there and that we know, have a good sense really of how many people you engaged. And basically once we get that, we're able to really give you your deposit back, which is $50 that everyone needs to pay. So once you're wrapped up, we'll sort things out from our end. We'll do our final thank yous, and we'll make sure that you know how your campaign contributed to the larger event that is Trick or Treat, because every donation counts. Some other things we can mention, in addition, given we are doing the social media aspect this year, which is new to us, we really want you to tweet, and really get our message out there, because in order to build this plan that happens on Halloween, it's good for us to populate our site beforehand. So tweets about food security, hunger, and really providing a good basis. So when someone goes to that hashtag Trick or Treat, they can say to themselves, oh my goodness, people are really into this. Wow. So that's what we're hoping for. So if you go to our handle, which is Mila, we've already started the conversation. Great. Feel free to add to it. Feel free to invite your friends. Feel free. We're happy this as inclusive as possible. So keep it in mind. And one of the things we started doing on Twitter, which some of you have done, is to share the scare. And our thought here was, again, one of our goals is to raise awareness about hunger, but then also to educate Canadians about hunger as well. So what we're encouraging people to do is take a picture of their scariest face and then include this text. So I think this is scary. 4 million Canadians are food insecure. Raise your voice to hunger, share the scare. And then importantly, hashtag Trick or Eat. So we as staff had a great time with this initiative. We had a big photo shoot. This is one of my favorite photos of Sarah and Caitlin. Caitlin the zombie and Sarah who has a star growing out of her eye. Very attractive. Dana was another program manager. He had a mask and a severed. And then I was some weird zombie thing. So make your scariest face. You don't have to go as intense by any means. We're very happy just for you to sit in front of your phone or your computer and just do a growling face. Really, anything you want to do that you're comfortable with to get the scare out there. So after you take your photo, tweet it with the caption and then with the hashtag, and encourage people to share the scare. Again, the more people we have tuning into our hashtag, the more we can build it up, and the better prepared we'll be for Halloween night. So at this point, that was a bunch of information to throw at you, but I thought we could jump into questions. So Sarah, being the tech expert for tonight, I'll still turn it to you to see how that would be best if we want to do audio or if we wanted to have those typed in.
Right. Great. So maybe what we can do is raise hands at this point, and we will hopefully get everyone who would like to use the microphone. The only factor here is if you would like to use a microphone, right at the top of the screen there should be a white microphone, and if you click on that, you should have the ability to enable your microphone. Looks like many of you do. So maybe we could just do a raise of hands at this point to see if anyone has a question. Yeah.
Hi. So my I'm here with Tori, by the way. So that's delayed. So my question is about the social media and awareness part of it. Do you have any kind of like graphics and like infographic type things that you can send along that we can share, or do you want us to just be sharing kind of what you're putting out there?
That's a great question. So Caitlin, our program manager, she is taking the lead on the Raise Your Voice aspect. So I would say in the meantime, feel free to share wherever you Sorry?
We lost.
Oh, we good?
Sorry, we're cutting out. Yeah.
Oh, no. So I'd say in the meantime, feel free to...
Oh, here. Melanie, if you're mute your mic would be, or I can, yeah, there we go, awesome. Okay.
So I was saying, so in the meantime, Caitlin's been working on some things so we can start to be sharing out. So we should have an organizer update coming soon with some more details around that. But for now, I would just say start doing your scary faces, sending them out. And Mel, we saw yours right before the webinar, and we both thought it was amazing. So we encourage everyone to go on to our Twitter account and then check out what's already been done. And just feel free to add your scary face to it.
Yeah, but great question. And that question, hunger is on the rise in Canada, what can Canadians do to end it, is a great conversation starter. And then feel free to use any of the resources. There's lots of resources online at Trick or Eat to be able to share out. But if you find an interesting article or something from your community that would be good to share out, maybe highlighting the community food agency that you'll be working with and doing a hashtag Triggery, that would be fantastic to bring the awareness so we can all learn about the initiatives happening across the country.
Absolutely.
Thanks so much. Great question. And yeah, absolutely. Thanks for keeping it up. Anyone else have a question or maybe something to share, as we have some well-experienced individuals here as well? Linda, yeah. So, all right.
So Linda just typed, so for the campus organizers, what are some good ways to recruit participants? So I have a couple answers to this, and again, we also have some organizers that are on the call, so people like David, feel free to step in as well. So some good ways would be through your general outreach. So for instance, if you're on campus, things like posters, things like posting on message boards, things like reaching out to certain networks. A lot of organizers found success by going to niche markets, so contacting sports teams, arts clubs, groups of people that already exist, because it's more likely they'll participate as groups of people, not just as individuals. And so instead of recruiting one person, by recruiting a group, you can easily get 50 people signed on to your Trickery campaign, and they're already a team, which is amazing. So that's another good way. And then a lot of it is just outreach. You think would be interested, doing cold asks to people, again, talking to groups. Those would be some of the things for me that come to mind. Is there anything for you?
Yeah, and also maybe connect with some professors or classes that you know are focused on social issues or geographic issues where this topic of food insecurity might be quite important to folks, and either doing a class announcement or maybe even seeing if professors would be able to encourage students to participate as maybe part of a class project or just as a learning experience that they think might appeal.
Also tabling too. We know some of our organizers in their student centers around campus just set up a table for a couple hours and just recruit people on the spot that way. So that's another way to generate some buzz. I mean, if you stood behind a table and had Darth Vader next to an Easter Bunny, I mean, that creates conversation. So it can easily draw some people over.
Absolutely. Anyone have anything to add, any ideas of things that have worked quite well? And then, Christoph, we will get to your question. All right. Okay, well, if ideas come up, definitely please feel free to share with Katie, and then we can share that out.
Absolutely. So, Chris, back into your question. Do we get all participants to register online also? Yes. Yes, you do, because by registering online, we're able to track who's participating and then encourage them to fundraise. So the worst thing you would want is thinking you have 60 people in your camp and then showing up to the night of Halloween, and then you have, 100 and you don't have enough resources or materials to be able to everybody. So by registering online beforehand, you're able to track who's participating in your campaign. You're better able to organize teams, and you're also better able to relay information to them. So if they're online, you can do the message boards. We'll have record of them. So one thing to mention is with the organizers in the last organizer guide, the organizer accounts, or the campaign account, sorry, to make sure you have full lists of your campaigns or the participants that are registered for your campaigns. We'll have to do that on our end, so create those lists for you and send them out on a weekly basis. It's just an unfortunate function of the software that we're using. We're hoping that next year it will move in a direction that will make it much easier for you But in the meantime, you can just keep a lookout on a weekly basis and set a time where you can expect lists of your participants to come in so you can contact them easily. And then another thing, by having everyone register online and you have team captains form, your team captains can be great also at relaying those messages out. So to sum up, absolutely, the more people you can get online to have their accounts, the better.
Yeah. The other aspect of that, as Katie mentioned, is fundraising is a core part of this. And it's a really great way to start conversations by reaching out to families and friends and asking, I'm doing this because it's important to me and because I think it's important for Canada. And it's a really, really great conversation starter. I just started doing my outreach for my fundraising and have, been able to share this really important message with lots of people. And the way I'm doing it is for anyone who donates $20, I'm making them a small jar of granola and delivering it to them so we can continue the conversation. And it's also a really fun way to be able to connect with friends, new and old.
Oh, I definitely want to donate to you. Absolutely. That's a great fundraising as well. And I mean, it's a good, I guess, piece to encourage people too, because by saying, if you donate to me, I'm going to dress up on Halloween and I'm going to go door to door and ask for canned food. So if you want to see me do that and support me by doing that, please donate. And again, any amount helps. The way we translate that to meal exchange is by every dollar that comes in, we're able to help food agencies provide at least one meal to people. So a little bit does go a long way.
Wonderful. Any other questions? These are fantastic questions and really great to work out the And maybe if there are no specific questions at this point, does anyone have something exciting to share? This is a really unique opportunity. We've got coast to coast online. Anything to share about either an experience you've had with Trick or Treat or a hope or challenge you foresee this year?
We got a few people typing, which is great, and just fall in silence. So I'll just read out what David just typed out. But he wants to share that creating a team package saves you a lot of time, which is a great point. So team captains, they're putting resources for them in terms of how they can communicate teams, route package in terms of where you'll be missing. That can save you a lot of time because it takes onus off you, because you could have, instead of people, you 4 people that you communicate to who spread the message to. And then this is my club member, and we are bringing this to Brampton, and I'm excited that we're in Brampton. I'm from Georgetown, so very, very close to me. When will our organization campaign pages be ready to go? So your campaign pages are ready. So if you have registered, if you go to the fundraising software, the easiest way to get there is to go to the web page, click on the register button. That'll take you to the main page. You can go to the campaign, and then campaigns that are registered are up on there. Also, too, you can go to the Trick or Treat website, on the locations page. Everything's listed, so if you click on one of the right to that campaign page to start organizing, to start fundraising and have people join the team. I also have Linda typing here. So we are really hoping to educate the participants that take part in Trick or Treat this year and are doing things by inviting to come to campus to give a talk on food security issues. Amazing. And they are very resourceful people and know, oh my gosh, keep going, a lot about the food issues in our community. I think that's a great idea. The more your food agency involved, the better. I'm sure they would love to have more of a presence, be able to share why donations are really important. So it's wonderful. So whether it be or whether again they just come to your kickoff event, gathers beforehand to give you, that can also be really impactful for students and participants to hear, because if they know exactly where the food's going, it's needed, it creates that personal connection to them, and they may be more inclined to donate more so or participate in any other events or functions with that agency later on.
And just to let you know, we have an exciting conference on November 8th, which is a Saturday, another webinar from 12 to 1, and that will be a further conversation, kind of a follow-up to Trick or Treat, where we can talk through what were some of the learnings and what can we do to transform food banks on campuses and in communities. So we'll send out more information there, but really, really exciting.
This is great too. Another point from Linda. Another way to get the conversation started is to facilitate a small activity before the participants go out and trick or treat. For example, you could do a food association game and have a small foam ball be tossed around and have participants say the first word that comes to mind when they think of the word food security or hunger. Great. So again, a great way to really have fun with it, but also engage your group, and that's a great idea. Word association. I got on. Yeah, but good clarification. So that's great. Now on the call, have any tips that they'd like to share along those lines? No? That's okay. Well, if there are any more questions, we have a bit more time here. Again, this will all be recorded, so you can feel free to refer to it later. And then as well, we also do have 2 more webinars coming up. As mentioned, there will be one next week that will be just focused on Trick or Treat 2.0 and getting your volunteers trained to go door to door, and by trained, just practice in going door to door. And then there'll be one the following week on the 22nd, I believe, the Wednesday. It'll be similar to this in the sense that we'll run through for the organizing pieces, given it will only be 4 organizers. And then it will be a great chance again to ask questions, get some last minute clarifications if you're running into problems or to get stumped, or if you're just looking for some inspiration for your campaign. And this, actually, David, this is a question for you. What kind of things do you include in the Captain packages? Some of the things include waivers, maps, and emergency contact information. given we have the new aspect of the Raising Voices, I would recommend printing off some scripts for your participants. One of the great things is if you look at the back page of this year's participant guide, there's actually a cutout script. You can easily just print off that page. It's nicely laid out. It's very Trickery branded, and that would be just a great, easy way to give to your participants. So I would recommend doing it, and that's the best place you can find it. Another point David mentioned, which is great, is that make sure before the team leaves the registration area that they hand in all the waivers to you, which is great because you don't want your butt on the line if something happens. So have the waivers be signed and make sure everyone is covered. You'll be able to count them and see how many participants actually went out, which is another great way to count your numbers as well. Because while some people online will say they're coming, you never fully know. So it's a great way to gauge participation rate. Great points, David.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Also, debrief, another point from David, debrief with your teams after the event so you can make a transition report for next year. Great, especially if you're with a Meal Exchange chapter, and also if you're with a group where you know you want to be doing this year after year, or it's part of your program. So that's another great point that's been brought up. Also, by debriefing, it provides a bit of a wind down. Some previous campaigns have also used it as a second chance to have a bit of a party. So really, that's another opportunity to make it your own and decide how you want to have that portion of the night. So whether it be a debrief to thank everyone, because everyone, of course, loves to be thanked, to again hear from some kind of speaker briefly, and then potentially to do some kind of after event, whether it be for more bonding or just for some more fun Halloween festivities.
Wonderful. Any final questions or thoughts to share for this portion? We can absolutely, can we make this available, this presentation available to everyone so they could pass it on to other?
Absolutely. Yeah, so we're recording it with the intention that we can spread it out. So if someone really want to catch this and they missed this, we'll provide a link to you so you can share it on. Or if you want to go back to a certain section to get a certain tip or a certain piece of advice, you're more than welcome to do so. So we'll try to include this as soon as possible and send it out to you as soon as we can.
So thank you all so much for joining. We really appreciate Trick or Treat couldn't happen without all of you, and you're an inspiration for us. You're the reason why we come in and get so excited every day. We really hope this is going to be the best year ever, and the year with kind of the most amount of change and awareness and education. So yeah.
Absolutely. And again, thank you all for joining on, and I hope it was informative and useful for you.
If you have any other questions, feel free to be in touch, and we would love to see how things are evolving through the hashtag Trick or Treat. And please do share your scary faces, because it's a fun way to engage so many folks in this really serious discussion that can raise a lot of awareness.
Mm-hmm. And we know you have scary faces, so don't be afraid to show them.
Hashtag great call.
Awesome.
Wonderful.
Well, thank you so much, everybody, and we will talk to you all soon.
Yeah. Bye. Thanks. I am recording.